Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Lucy for those of you that are new here. If you're not new, then welcome back to my channel. Today it is 1 year until I get married and I'm so excited. Like literally I'm so excited. I'm trying not to come across too like ridiculously screamy excited, but I am. Inside I'm like I cannot wait to get married. If you're new here, you might not know that I got engaged last October. So October 2016. I don't know the date. I'm really bad on it. I should know the date really, but I don't. So seeing as it's a year till my wedding day, I thought that I would share our engagement story because it was pretty spectacular and pretty romantic and very special. I would definitely say that it was the absolute best day of my life so far, and I'm sure my wedding day is going to top that, but so far getting engaged has been the best day I've ever had. So I'm going to start from the beginning, obviously, because why would I not start from the beginning? Shut up, Lucy. I'm really sorry if this is rambly. I haven't made any notes or anything. This is all just me going off what I remember of our engagement day. So we got engaged in Paris. I wasn't expecting it though. I think a lot of people think when you get engaged in Paris that you think, oh, I'm being taken to Paris, he's gonna propose. We've been together for like 6 years, so it was on the cards obviously, and I did know that we'd get married and engaged one day, but we have had a lot of things going on in our lives, especially since we had our son Harry, and then we found out he was deaf, and then obviously he had to have surgery and everything. Then Scott was poorly with a brain tumour and brain cancer, and so obviously he had surgery, and then I had the ectopic pregnancy and I had surgery. So all three of us within like 3 to 4 years had all had something really bad happen with us, and we had to have surgery for. So each year was sort of taken up by something, and then last year my dad was really poorly as well. He was in hospital for like a good few months, and yeah, we obviously had another quite difficult year. But last year we were also treated to a really lovely holiday. All of our friends put some money together and we went to Santorini, which was amazing because obviously we'd been through such shit that it was really nice of them to get their money together and send us on this really lovely holiday. So in my head, because we were going to Santorini and I knew that it was really picturesque and romantic, I thought Scott was going to propose then, and I think he knew that I thought he was going to propose then, because I don't know, but as the holiday was going on and on, I was thinking, I don't think he's going to do it. It didn't put a dampener on the holiday at all, because I knew that he was going to proposed to me one day. I just kind of thought it was going to be there. So that was at the beginning of last year, and Santorini came and went, and obviously we didn't get engaged. So I just thought, okay, it's not happening yet. I'll wait a little bit longer. And then we went to Madrid, and I didn't think he would do it there because we were on somebody else's wedding. And then we went on a family holiday to Spain, and I thought that he was going to do it then again. And it was kind of by that stage I actually was like, I wasn't getting annoyed, but I was thinking, oh my god, he's not going to propose to me this year, like this is like the perfect year to do it, and he's not going to do it. And I just thought that maybe he would do it there because in Spain, because it's like my second home, there's like a lot of family history there, and yeah, he didn't do it then either. And then the back end of last year, so September, my dad was really poorly and it had been very stressful, and Scott came home from work and was like really excited about something, and I was like, what are you so excited about? And he was like, oh, I've decided that I'm going to take you to Paris next weekend. And I was like, what? Like, amazing, why? Like, it's not really a great time to be going, maybe? And he was like, well, your dad's been so poorly, I think that you need a trip away. And Paris means a lot to me and Scott. We went there. It was like our last holiday before we had Harry, so we'd gone there around the same dates actually, but a year before we had Harry, and we just had the most amazing time there. I absolutely love Paris. I think it is one of the most amazing cities. I don't know how anybody can't like it. It is so beautiful. The architecture is amazing. The people were so lovely. The food, I just love how you can like go down any street and you'd find a really great cup of coffee or a croque monsieur, and you can just sit and watch the world go by. And it's just my absolute favourite city I've ever visited, and I really love it there. So for him to say he was taking me to Paris, it didn't scream, oh, you're getting engaged. It was, you're going to Paris because you really love it there, and he kind of wanted to repeat the trip that we'd had before, so it wasn't in my head in the slightest. We went to Paris on the Friday morning. Harry was staying with who was he staying with? Oh, he was staying with Scott's sister, So we dropped him off the night before, and then we'd gone off and got up really early and got the Eurostar. Across to Paris, spent the Friday in Paris, went to our favourite place, which is the Louvre, went around the Louvre, looked at all the masterpieces again. It was really, really lovely. Popped along to Angelina's for hot chocolate. I actually feel like I might do a video about Paris because I love Paris and I know so many places to go. And I don't want to make this video all about Paris. It's more about the engagement, isn't it? So if you would like to see a video on Paris and places that I would recommend that you go, then let me know because I will very happily make that. We just had a really long day of doing all the touristy stuff, and we actually ended up in bed with pizza at 9 o'clock at night and like straight to sleep, which is really lame. When you haven't got children, you should be out drinking and having a great time, but we actually had a lovely time indoors and went to sleep really early. Scott had said to me that Friday, I'd like to get up early on the Saturday and go for a walk around I think you pronounce it the Tuileries Gardens, which is basically the grounds that are outside the Louvre. They're like these really, really nice gardens with loads of sculptures and just like really, really pretty and picturesque. And we hadn't actually been there before, so I just thought that he thought in his head, oh yeah, apparently it's really nice in the morning, we'll go there and have a nice walk around and then go get some breakfast or whatever. So yeah, again, had no idea. And so we got up quite early, and I think we were at the gardens by like 10ish in the morning, and we just had a little wander up and down. We looked at all the sculptures, and I'm going to insert some pictures of what it looked like because it was so beautiful. I am a real autumnal kind of girl, and it was the most perfect autumnal scene ever. Like the trees there are lined absolutely perfectly along each like pathway, and they were beautiful colours of like oranges and browns and yellows, and there was conkers everywhere, and I was picking up the conkers thinking I need to take these for blog pictures because they are massive. So I'm just like busy picking up conkers, and Scott is sort of starting to waffle in my ear about how much he loved me and obviously trying to build up to the engagement, and I wasn't really listening. And then we sort of veered off to this really little private area where there was this really cute little bench, and Scott was like, let's go and sit on the bench. And to be honest, I was thinking, why does he want to sit on a bench? Like, I'm quite happy just wandering and taking pictures, and he kind of just wanted to sit on this bench in the corner. So yeah, and then when we were sat down on the bench, that's when I suddenly thought, oh, I think he's gonna propose. And it is a bit of a blur. I don't really know what he said. I think it was something along the lines of like, I love you so much, and you've been by my side through everything, and obviously we'd been through a lot together, and he'd really appreciated everything I'd done for him, and that he really loved me, and would I marry him? And they just took the ring out of the box, and I was just like, oh my god, and yeah, obviously I could feel myself crying now, but I could, yeah, it was so emotional, and I just burst into tears, and I was just like, oh my god. And you know when you have that sort of smile on your face where it just physically hurts, I just literally couldn't stop smiling. So yes, he gave me this beautiful ring. So this is my ring. It's really hard to show a ring on camera, but this is my ring, and yeah, I absolutely love it. It's like the absolute perfect ring. Funny story, I actually didn't want a ring. Like for a couple of years we'd been speaking about getting engaged, and I don't really wear rings, and I never saw myself wearing an engagement ring. So I said to Scott, could he get me a Prada handbag instead, because yeah, I just kind of like it better. But yes, he got me this ring, and I absolutely love it. And the diamond isn't huge, but that is exactly what I wanted. The loveliest thing about this ring was that the gold is actually from Scott's mum's wedding and engagement rings, and she has very sadly passed away before I had a chance to meet her, but he got to keep her rings, and asking his sister and his dad's permission, they agreed to let him melt it down and make it into my engagement ring, and then obviously he bought a diamond to be set into there. And yeah, he actually went to London when he was meant to be at home recovering after his radiotherapy. So he managed to come home from radiotherapy, so at the beginning of last year, or the year before that, and he went to London with his friend, got a ring like sorted out and made, and came home again, and I had no idea. I thought he was just at home recovering and feeling sorry for himself. I just think that this ring is so special. Like, it doesn't matter like the cost of a ring. I just think that the sentiment behind it is the main thing, and it's just exactly what I would have wanted. I wanted something really classic and understated and gold as well. I wanted a gold ring, and yeah, it is the perfect ring for me, and I absolutely love it. So back to the engagement story. I was completely and utterly buzzing, as you can imagine, and the first thing I thought of was, I need to tell everybody. And I picked up my phone to ring my best friend Sarah, and I went to ring her, and her phone was going through to like a weird dialing tone, and I was like, oh no, like I knew she was going to Bruges, so I thought, oh no, she's already gone to Bruges, like I can't tell her. Scott was like saying to me, can you just calm down, can we just go and sit and enjoy the moment and process this? And I was like, no, I need to tell everybody, because that's just the kind of person I am. And I was trying to ring my mum, but her phone was off, and I was like, surely my mum knows. Why is her phone off? Like, why would she not be expecting my call? And I was actually getting like a bit annoyed because nobody was answering their phones, and I was just getting a bit like, oh, for God's sake. And I really wanted to ring my sister, but I wanted to make sure that I rang my parents first because I didn't want them to get annoyed. So Scott was like, right, Lucy, I'm going to take your phone off you in a minute. Like, you need to calm down. Let's go to a coffee shop. So we walked out of the gardens, and Scott saw a coffee shop and was like, let's just go here, get some coffee, maybe some champagne, process it, like enjoy the moment. And then we can try and get hold of everybody. So I was like, okay, that's fine. All the while being like, oh my God, I can't wait to take a picture and put it on Instagram. So then we got to this coffee shop, and Scott was like, oh, I'm just gonna, and his phone rang, and he was like, I'm just gonna go outside and take this call. And I was just sat there literally like looking at my ring like, oh my God, I am like the luckiest girl in the world. This ring is so sparkly and amazing. And then a few minutes later, I looked to my right, and there was this like big glass window, and there was a ton of people there with emoji masks, so like masks with heart eyes and like smileys and thumbs up and stuff. And it was our whole family and our little boy Harry, and it was just ridiculous. Like, I literally just couldn't stop laughing and crying. It was just insane. I couldn't believe it. Everybody was in Paris. So obviously I ran outside of the coffee shop, and there's me thinking it was just a random coffee shop that Scott had found, but obviously it was planned and everyone was meant to meet us there. So yeah, it was my mum and my mum's partner, Scott's sister and her husband, Scott's brother and his wife, and then little Harry, and our nephew Craig as well. So yeah, it was all of them, and they were in Paris, and it was just ridiculous, and we just like laughed and hugged. And so Craig, my nephew, is a photographer. I will actually link his Instagram below because he is going to start up doing his own photography on the side of his day job, so I will link him below. He takes some really lovely photos. So yeah, he's a photographer. He was like the best person to have out there, so I was like, right, Craig, you need to get some great engagement photos for me. So we headed back to the Louvre, and we were outside, you know, like the Louvre big triangle glass bit, taking loads of pictures, and it was a beautiful sunny day, so we were just like enjoying the sun and enjoying the moment, and it was lovely. And as we were taking a photo, two of my best friends came running in and hugged me and got a photo with me, and it was just ridiculous. So my friend Sarah and my friend Sammy, who are two of my bridesmaids, turned up to Paris as well as everybody else, and it was just ridiculous. I just couldn't believe that Scott had planned not only this engagement in Paris, but for everybody to come there as well. So what I didn't know was that when we dropped Harry off to Scott's sister, to obviously come to the Eurostar, they literally left straight away to go to Paris at the same time. So we were literally in Paris all day Friday at the same time, and I had no idea. And I'd been ringing Scott's sister, asking how Harry was, how his day was at the childminder. She's like, yeah, he had a great time, and like he's fine, and he's just, you know, eating dinner. And he was obviously already in Paris. So, and the reason I couldn't get hold of my friend Sarah, and her phone was making a weird noise, was because she was obviously already in Paris, and it was an international dialing code. So now it all made sense why Scott didn't want me to keep calling people, because I probably would have clocked if I tried to ring my mum and hers had gone to a dialing tone, and then obviously my friend Sammy as well. I would have definitely clocked, I think, by then. So we just spent the rest of the day in Paris, and it was just the best day I've ever had. It was so lovely, like the sun was shining, it was just lovely, and we spent loads of time outside the Louvre taking photos, and then we all took a really long walk up to the Eiffel Tower. My family took Harry off somewhere and he had a lovely time with them, but us guys sort of walked to the Eiffel Tower, which was a good sort of hour-and-a-half walk through Paris, and then we had cocktails under the Eiffel Tower, and then some people went home. So obviously the Eurostar is really easy, you can just hop in and out of Paris quickly. And then some of us went out for like a really nice dinner, and yeah, it was just lovely. So that is my engagement story. It was just the most magical, romantic engagement ever. I think sometimes when people think of engagements in Paris, they think of somebody being proposed to on the Eiffel Tower. I would have absolutely hated that. I wouldn't actually, I take that back. I wouldn't have hated it. Obviously, I wanted to get engaged and I want to marry Scott. He is obviously the love of my life, but I just really prefer the way that he did it. I really love that it was in this really, really nice autumnal setting. There was nobody else around, just a couple of runners running through the park. Yeah, it was just like, just the most magical day, and the fact that all of our family and friends were there to share it with us was just ridiculous. I would love to watch your engagement story or any wedding planning videos you have, so do let me know if you're planning a wedding in the comments below, or let me know your engagement story. I love hearing how people got engaged, especially now I'm engaged. I think when I used to watch them before, I used to just be like, oh, so jealous, like I can't wait to get engaged, but now I like really love hearing other people's engagement stories. So do let me know how you got engaged, and if it was in Paris or if it was just at home in bed and it was really lovely. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and watch out for some more wedding related videos coming up in the next year, and I'll see you next time. Bye!